All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I am riding down the road right now. I'm somewhere in Mississippi, but anyway, and a thought come to my head in my mind. We have been getting a lot. We seem to draw the attention, a lot of attention from religious people, from people who are in law enforcement, and rednecks. Other than that, pretty much everybody leaves us alone. And I was just thinking, the Constitution in this country says that that all of us, men and women, we have a right, freedom of religion, and nobody has the right to prohibit the free exercise thereof. And I was just thinking how a lot of people take issue with a lot of things that I preach and teach. And what I teach is the law of liberty. You see, the Bible is a law book. And that reminds me of something before I go off into a discussion here to tell you what this video is about. The video is pretty much about being able to be self-sufficient, self-sustained, and not really truly dependent upon a job or the government to take care of you. And for that, I am demonized. I am called many, many different names, simply because I do not trust this system to take care of me. I don't trust this system and their health care. I mean, I was just thinking the other day, and I did a little bit of research, and I noticed that, the turn of the 19th century, 20th century, you'd be hard-pressed to find a cancer case in the United States of America. Can you believe that? And of course, then I turned around and looked at the turn of the 21st century. And I looked and I said, man, 1 in 2 people get cancer in this world, in this environment where we're living in right now. Man. Then I looked at, went back 100 years ago and saw what the people did and believed then. And I said, man, it looks like these people got it right. Man, it looks like these people have it right. So then I turned around and said, hey, what, 1 in 40 people had cancer way back then, and now we 1 in 2, and look like the American Cancer Society, along with the Food and Drug Administration and all these other government agencies, look like they're shooting 1 for 1. Meaning, out of every person that you see 2 people, 1 of them is guaranteed to get cancer. Of course, you look at our environment, though. Chemical trails, herbicides, pesticides. You go to the produce market, to the store, and you buy Roundup, DHT, and all different types of chemicals that has been sprayed on your plants. And of course, you see that nice fruit. Man, and you think you're getting some quality produce. Of course, then many people are hooked on nowadays trying to trump y'all, because now you got people want to set up hydroponic systems, which basically cannot give you the minerals and the trace minerals that literally come out of the soil or the ground. And of course, they say that they're providing nutrients, chemicals and stuff, but it's not the same. It's not the same as coming from the same place that you and I came from. And that's the reason why people are not living a quality standard of life. But anyway, I began to think within myself, and I said, you know what? I think that, I really truly do. I think that I'm going to continue to keep on living a quiet and peaceable life. And the reason why my life is not quiet and so peaceable is because I have the arrogancy and the audacity to preach. And when you preach, you're making a proclamation. You're hurling and you're proclaiming. What you're saying is that this is the Eternal's way. It's right. We're all wrong. And it makes no difference whether you hear or forbear. And most people take it as a personal threat. It's not that I've done anything to harm them and, myself personally. It's just that the word, which is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of a man's heart, it goes deep down into that heart. The thing that a lot of people think that is so strong it can't never be affected. So when you preach the word, you ever notice how people begin to act when you just speak the word of Yah? That's how you know it's the word of Yah, because there is nothing else on earth, with all the words and all the conversations and all the phrases that we say on a daily basis, there is nothing that will turn a person upside down like speaking the word of Yah. It's like man's soul already knows it, and you can tell we're in a fallen state, because look at how we respond to the truth. And so, you know, it's obvious that if those of us who can see the forest for the trees, see the forest over there, it's obvious those of us, we can tell that our world is not getting better. As a matter of fact, it's going from bad to worse. And so since we know that our government doesn't have a history of preparing us for natural disasters, calamity, or catastrophe, or even an economic depression, then we have to make those choices and decisions for ourselves, unless we find ourselves in a bread line or soup line, depending on the government handout. And for that, I'm demonized, teaching people to get out of the cities. You know, Elder Rufus said something to me the other day, and it was so profound what Elder Rufus has said. Elder Rufus said, you know, Pastor, as we continue to keep going on, year after year, I begin to comprehend and perceive and understand the wisdom that you have given us a long, long time ago, which I'm only echoing the sentiments of what the word says. It's just that people, again, if you want to see somebody cut up today, just speak the word. You don't even have to quote chapter and verse, just speak the word and watch and see how vicious a lot of people come after you. Of course, that's part and parcel to the calls and to the calling. But he says, I am seeing this thing. The reason why you scream and holler and echo, get out of the city, get into the country. Because you think about it. You know, you out in the city, these people are criminals, both law enforcement and the people. But he says the one thing I noticed about the law enforcement and the people out in the country, for instance, if you're in the country and you have a teenage daughter that's cutting the food, and you beat her tail, and somebody calls the law enforcement on you, the police said, and after they hear the matter, they'll normally say, well, go ahead and beat her butt. We'll sit there and watch, make sure that you finish the job. But in the city, they're going to lock you up. They're going to confine you. And they're going to incarcerate you without due process. It's just a different attitude, different spirit, of course. And also, I'm throwing this in, out in the country, you know, the law enforcement officials, man, they're happy when they see you carrying a gun. But in the city, they're terrified. See, it's two different natures, because some people know the law, some don't. It's just a different attitude, different spirit. But so no, I think I'm going to continue to keep going out here living a quiet, peaceful life. I think I'm going to continue to keep growing our food in dirt, in soil. I actually like staying away from doctor's visits. You know, after all, I haven't been to a doctor since I got out of the military, basically. And that was over 20. Woo, mercy, man. I'm going on 25, 20. I'm going on 23 something years I've been out of the military. Something like that. Wow. It's a pretty good track record not going to the doctor home. All because of choices and decisions that I make, I talk about, I preach about it. And you know what it all comes from? You know, I say this over and over again, and still don't penetrate into people's minds. Many of you are religious. You go to church because that's what you've been taught to do here in this country. Go to church. And when you go to church, you notice that the church is full of sick folk. I mean sick. But when you come to Straightway, you don't see all that. Matter of fact, you don't see all these sick folk. You see people come to us that are sick, looking to get well because of the word. And you know the reason why that we have that kind of nice track record is because we follow the law. You know that thing that you've been told that is rescinded, repealed, done away with, and nailed to the cross? I was speaking to a young college seminary student. I was sitting down in a business, and he actually overheard me speaking to someone, and he said, sir, if you don't mind, can I get in on this conversation? After all, I go to such and such seminary. I said, sure you can. And he heard me talk to her a little while. He said, sir, you know, I don't understand something. I said, what is it? Intelligent, very tactful young man. He says, I don't understand something. I said, what's that? He says, why are you teaching people to follow the law? That's done away with. I said, son, where did you learn that from? And well, I learned it in school. I said, and what book or books does your school use? Well, we got, a few textbooks that we use, but most of all, the authority is the Bible. I said, really? I said, I tell you what, right out there in my vehicle that's waiting to get service, I have a Bible. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go out there and I'll be right back. He says, okay. I said, well, here you are, sir. Young man, I said, here's a Bible right here. Now, I would like for you to show me where the law has been repealed, rescinded, done away with, and nailed to the cross. And since we're all sitting here waiting, we'll be glad to read that commandment, okay? And he went to the Bible. He tore off into it, and he started looking and said, I can't find it right now. I said, okay. I now have a comment statement for you. You may not like it, but I don't think you're ever going to find it. Because what you're looking for is words that you perceive that Paul said because the way you've been taught. But think about this. Scripture cannot be broken. All scripture is given by inspiration of Yah. It's profitable for doctrine, correction, reproof, instruction. Whoever teach men to break the least of these commandments is going to be least in the kingdom, and whosoever teach men to keep these commandments shall be great in the kingdom. Jesus said, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. Paul said in the book of Romans, wherefore the law is holy, the commandment holy, just, and good. I said, how am I doing right now? He said, well, you are quoting the Bible. Know about it? I said, yeah. And everything I just got finished quoting you, guess where it came from? The New Testament. And most people today are being duped and deceived, thinking that the New Testament is something other than what the scripture says. No, the majority of the New Testament has to do with letters. That's all they are. It's no different than if I wrote you a letter. Now, the words of Christ is not a letter. It's just the gospel of truth. It's the word of Yah, manifested, made flesh. And he says, but I still believe that we're not under the law. I said, oh, okay. I said, how old are you? He says, well, I'm 26 years old. I've been to school and I'm working on a seminary degree as well. I said, you married? Yeah, I'm married. I said, can I see a picture of your wife? He said, yeah, sure. Oh man, she's a nice looking woman. I showed the person I was talking to. I said, what do you think about her right there? You think she's a nice looking woman? Oh, she's a very attractive young woman. I said, can you call her up and tell her that I'd like to lay with her because I think she's attractive and I think that she would have a good time with me. And he was like, whoa, that rocked him. I said, hold on now. He says, what in the world is wrong with you? I said, what do you mean what's wrong with me? Ain't nothing wrong with me. I mean, I'm looking at your wife and I asked for a picture. You gave it to me and I thought she's a good looking woman. And I thought that she would definitely like to have a good time with an older man. An older black man is in real good shape too. And the more I said it, he started to get a little hot on the collar, started to get upset there a little bit. And I said, well, what's the problem? He says, but the Bible says thou shalt not commit adultery. I said, it does. Well, I didn't know that. What are you anyway, by the way? Are you a follower of Christ or a Christian or what are you? Well, I'm a Christian. I'm such and such flavor, and I'm not going to tell you the flavor because I don't want to bring any more negative publicity to any particular religions. All you people have to do is just learn how to study. And I said, and that's something, huh? But you just told me that we don't have to keep the commandments. You told me the law is done away with and it's nailed to the cross. You told me that we don't have to do those things anymore. And of course, I'm just a block layer. I'm a block layer, frame houses. I shovel chicken dung and work on a farm. And you're educated, and you know more than I do. So I'm also inclined to believe what you have to say. But there's a thing we have in the country called common sense, and I'm seeing right now that it's becoming very uncommon nowadays because we can sit and read something in the Bible, and it just doesn't make sense to people. It don't register anymore. So anyway, he's quite hot up on the collar, and it kind of rocked the person that was listening to me too. And I said, "Oh, just stay with me for a second. I'm on." I'm getting to a point right here. It says that don't Malachi 3:6, I think it's 3:6 right now, or 6:3. Don't it says that I am Yahweh Elohim and I change not, therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed? Oh, yeah. I said, go and make sure you read it. Make sure you read it. Yeah. And I said, now let's go over to the New Testament. Let's go to Hebrews 13, verse 8. Can you read it, please? Yes, sir. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. I said, oh, all right. So I guess we could come pretty much to the conclusion that this eternal, this being, this created universe, he don't change regardless of time, regardless of dispensation, regardless of modernism, that what we find ourselves today in the 21st century. He just doesn't change then. I mean, we can come to that conclusion, right? Yeah. I said, well, you're telling me that the law is done away with, and yet he says that he doesn't change, and he made sure that statement was said in 2 places. Make sure that you get it. And I said, if I follow your philosophy, which it seems like you're kind of schizophrenic, and don't think I'm insulting you because I'm not, but if I follow your philosophy, one minute you say that the law is done away with, and the next minute you want the law to support you because you don't want me laying with your wife because you think that that's not lawful. And I ask you where you get that from. Well, the Bible says. I said, but wait a minute, you said that we don't have to do that. And I said, let me see. Can we go to Exodus the 20th chapter and find out who's doing this talking? Because, you know, if God is just like us, where he changes his mind every time that there's a new nation that comes up and rise up in authority and stuff, and every time there's a new philosophy that comes and tells us that his laws and his statutes, his rules and guidelines are done away with and they're nailed to the cross, I mean, somebody's wrong. So let's just read what he says. And he opens it up to Exodus 20, and it says, I'm Lord, and I'm God. Moses, I want you to speak to the children of Israel. He starts reading the commandments. He gets on down to the commandment that says, thou shalt not commit adultery. And he says, well, wait a minute, sir, but you said you wanted to lay with my wife. I said, sir, I'll tell you the truth right now. I really, truly don't want to lay with your wife. That's your covenant. She belongs to you. I made this statement to awaken consciousness, hopefully to do something to put a defibrillator on your mind, to show you that even though that they have taught you and they're still teaching you that the law is done away with, you don't even believe it. Because if you believed it, then you wouldn't have any problem with a man laying with your wife or your wife laying with men. But there's something inside of you, regardless of the lies that has been told, that's letting you know that you don't believe this. And you know what? It is the truth. That woman belongs to you. And, you know, my ancient people, if you were caught in Israel doing something like that, you received a death penalty. And mind you, again, I want you to realize I'm only stating and quoting facts so you can wake up out of whatever this stupor is that they got you. I don't know what kind of syrup or stuff they got you on, but they got you on some bad stuff today. And I asked him, I said, you got a cell phone? Yeah, I got a cell phone. I said, can I see what kind of cell phone you got? Yeah. He gave me a cell phone. I took his cell phone, put it in my back pocket. He said, what are you doing? I said, it's mine. He says, no, it ain't. It's my swell cell phone. I said, no, it ain't either. This is my cell phone. You just gave it to me. No, I didn't. You asked to see it. Are you calling me a thief? Well, yes, I'm calling you a thief. You're trying to steal my cell phone. I said, oh, wait a minute. But according to your doctrine, your teaching, that law that says that thou shalt not steal has been rescinded, repealed, done away with, and nailed to the cross. And so therefore, I'm practicing the law of liberty to where, hey, if I want it, I'll take it. It's mine. I don't believe in that stuff. I mean, you say you don't believe it, so I'm just following right along with you. Why is it that all of a sudden that you preach and teach, and you're going to go preach and teach that the law is done away with, and then as soon as something happened to you right out of the book, then the next thing you know, you want to use the law against anyone who transgresses against you. I said, it just don't make sense to me. And mind you, I'm a farmer. I work on a little small community. I lay blocks, and I'm not educated. I don't have a degree. I haven't read many books, and I mean, it just don't make sense to me. I mean, you know, about this time, you could tell that something was going on in that man's spirit. You could tell. And he started to get what I was saying as painful. That's why I keep telling people over and over again, truth is painful. But again, I quote it. If I say it once, say it 1,000 times, I'll try it again. You know, John 8:32 says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Some it says make you free. But watch this. Do you understand what that means? No, I'm gonna help you out. When it says you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free or set you free, think about this for a second. That means you are bound. You are in chains. Be it on your mind, be it physically, mentally, socially, religiously. There are some chains, unseen chains, that are binding you. And when the truth comes, it's there to set you free. But a slave that loves his chains, he or she are not trying to get free because they're comfortable in captivity. And see, when you get free, that means you're no longer bound, because the truth has just set you free. And I come to find out today that people don't want to be free. It is the most bizarre behavior I have ever encountered in all my life. It is bizarre. It is totally bizarre that you tell people the truth, they get mad, they get upset, and they want the chains to stay on them, and they don't want to be free. I just don't. Maybe it's because I'm just a dumb block mason, a dumb framer, and half-time or part-time plumber, and I shovel chicken dung and raise my own food, and so therefore I don't know too much because I don't read too many books. That's probably what it is. I may have a learning disability or something. I don't know. You tell me though, but I think I have sense though. And I really truly do. It's about. I mean, I read the same book they do, and I said I don't know how these people can come up with this stuff. It says what it says. It means what it says, and it's always worked for me. I follow the dietary laws. It keeps me out of the hospital. Glory to the King. I think I'm going to keep on keeping this law. Really, truly am. Because all the people that I know that preach and teach against this and don't keep it, they in bad shape, bad trouble, bad health. The quality of life stinks. It's just messed up. Hey, why don't y'all show this video to your parents? Show this video to someone who you will call a loved one. I mean, after all, I'm being very civil in this particular video right here. And I'm actually letting you know my real life conversations that go on. But I am sure that this bizarre behavior is deeply embedded in the collective subconscious mind of man. And there ain't nothing that anyone can do about it, not even Yah himself, because you see, truth is based on your agreement. And remember, truth is not the truth until you accept it and you get it. That's when the light comes on. As long as you renege, as long as you fight, resist, man, the truth is not for you, and you're going to stay bound. You're going to stay a slave to, be it a religious doctrine. You're going to be a slave to the medical profession of this world, to the system. You're going to have chains on your minds where you're not free to actually think. You actually function in this world after a trained behavior, a programmed behavior, and you don't know how to think outside of the box. It's probably the reason why you're in trouble. But I believe that we should live a life not ever dependent on the system. Matter of fact, you should live your life making sure that you're getting yourself ready, because it's obvious that this economy and this system is getting ready to fall. I just read the other day that Barack Hussein Obama, President Barack Hussein Obama, has just got finished putting up in front of Congress another $4 trillion spending bill. And of course, when you say $4 trillion, that's going to take us all to about $27 trillion. Told you they ain't got the stomach. They ain't got the stomach nor the heart to balance this budget. And all politicians, if their mouth are moving, they're lying. Anyway, I guess this dumb preacher that is uneducated, that's me, that don't have enough sense. I mean, I guess I'm just doomed to be just a laborer with my hands. Because all I know how to do is build buildings, build custom cabinets, frame houses, run a little bit of electricity, plumber, tend to farming, stuff like that. I'm preaching on radio, teaching. I'm just too dumb to go out here and go to a school and pay somebody else some money to get a piece of paper that I can just simply go down to Staples or Kinko's and print it up myself and stick it on the wall. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. But it seems to be, just by my own logic and reason, I'm doing pretty good. And I think I'd do a whole lot better once this economy collapses, since I understand what just weights and just balances are. It's totally amazing, isn't it? Man, I hope I've said something to stimulate thought, make you think there a little bit. What are you going to do when those trucks are no longer coming to the city? Most of you don't even have 1 week's of food storage. What are you going to do? Are you prepared? Can you trust all those peoples in those municipal population centers, very densely populated centers? Can you trust them if a natural disaster takes place? Well, what kind of chaos would take place? No, I think I'm going to stay out here in the country. Home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play. Well, seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies all cloudy all day.